What's up guys, it's Lauren and today we are back for another episode of Big Sis Chats and I'm excited about today's topic, which is feeling pressure from friends and family to upgrade your lifestyle. So I asked you guys a while back what sort of topics you want me to talk about, if you could ask your big sister anything, and one person commented, I feel pressured sometimes by friends to keep upgrading my life. It would be nice to have a video around how to manage this. So this is a really good one because I fall into this trap too. I see other people with certain bags or certain clothing or certain house or car and I'm like, that looks really nice. I want that too, and I feel jealous that I can't have it. Or I'll go over to somebody's house and it'll be newer or nicer than mine, or they throw a birthday party for their kid and it's more elaborate and you feel pressured to do that for your kid next time. And so it's very common, this whole keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing that people fall into, to feel pressure to upgrade your lifestyle as people around you are upgrading theirs, and fall into that trap of doing things you can't afford and putting yourself in a bad financial position. So I have one go-to strategy that I use in these situations and I'm going to share it with you now. And this is actually something that I learned in sobriety and getting sober from my drug use back 8 years ago. And the strategy is, when you're thinking about something that you want, in the past it was wanting to use drugs, and in this context we're talking about more like wanting a newer, nicer house, okay? So you're thinking of something you want. When you think of it, you can't just think of the upside. You can't just think of, oh, the beautiful house and having people over and them admiring it and you enjoying the space and you cooking in the beautiful kitchen and having the nice backyard for your kids. You can't just think of the good parts of it. You have to also think about all of the bad parts or all of the stressful parts of it, and really look at the whole picture, not just look at the nice little one sliver of it that you want to look at because it's the thing that you want. So you need to look at, oh, well, our property taxes would double, our mortgage would double, we would have to finance the furniture to fill up the house because we don't have a big house right now, and so we would either have to have empty rooms or more furniture, or I'd feel embarrassed that the house didn't feel full of furniture because we don't want to finance stuff. We wouldn't be able to take as many vacations. We wouldn't be able to buy, other things with that money because the money is going to the house. And so you need to look at all of that, and not just the expenses that would come up, but how you would feel. How would you feel about that house if you knew all of your money was being poured into the house every month and you didn't have other money to buy other things that bring you happiness? And I'm using a house as an example because it's the biggest purchase most people will make in their lifetime. So that's the strategy I've used for a number of years. As I mentioned, just when I was trying to get sober, I wasn't just thinking of the good experiences with drugs, the effect you're looking for when you're getting high, but also all the bad side effects, especially just when all your drugs are gone and you are coming down and you feel terrible and sick and you need to go get more. You have to remember that, in fact, focus on that more. And that really has helped me not want to go experience that. And again, as thinking more about the bad things that come from it than the good things. And so, it sounds kind of negative, obviously in the drug context it makes sense, but you don't want to be negative, oh, well, we can't get the house we want, and just be negative about it. If you want to upgrade your lifestyle in one area, then you can create a plan and make that a priority and budget for it and save and work towards it. But you can't just think of, oh, a beautiful house and I wish we had just more money to have this house. You have to think of the reality of everything that comes with it. Another example is a vacation, so a really nice vacation. Well, are you really going to enjoy that vacation if you're going into debt to go on the vacation? Probably not. Not in the same way as if it was a debt-free vacation that you saved up for and you budgeted for and you could afford. And the other thing to keep in mind too is if you are feeling like you're missing out on the things, like a nicer vacation, nicer hotel, nicer purse, nicer car, all these things. If you watch any celebrity interview where they talk about, having money and having the things, they all say the same thing. They say it was really cool and fun for the first month. And then it kind of got old. It didn't feel exciting and new and special anymore. It just became normal. And like it didn't give me the happiness that I thought it would. And a lot of celebrities or a lot of people who come into a lot of money, they go into crisis because they're like, I thought money would fix everything. I thought money would make me happy, and it didn't. And so that's the other thing to keep in mind. Like if you're looking for your happiness from external validation, that's only going to take you so far. At a certain point, you have to go then look within and find peace and happiness within yourself. No matter what your environment and circumstances are, ultimately happiness comes from within. And sure, there's definitely things that make happiness harder to find because you have external factors like, you know, financial stress or a toxic work environment or a bad relationship or whatever that's happening that make happiness a lot harder to find, but really ultimately it comes from within. So that's the other thing too. Like there's a lot of people who have a lot of money, who have a lot of nice things, and it's all a facade. They're absolutely miserable. So this thing that you're seeing somebody else have is the image that they're portraying to you, not necessarily the reality of what their experience is in that situation. So you need to also, you know, not just look at the good in what other people have. You need to look at the whole reality of the situation. And if you knew the whole reality, like let's say somebody has a nice new house, but they're in tons of debt and they can barely afford their life, do you envy them as much if you knew all that? And there's not that much transparency with finances in the world. Like it's very taboo to talk about. So you don't necessarily know where people are at, but most people have credit card debt. So you can assume if it seems strange that other people can afford things that you can't and you're jealous of them, they probably can't afford them. They're just financing them and they're going to pay for it down the road. So that's the other thing too, is are you playing a short game or are you playing a long game? So when you feel pressured to upgrade things, the short-sighted thing to do would be to give into that impulse and spend your money on something that is important to you now but doesn't serve you in the long run. And if you're playing the long game, then you know that putting a portion of your money aside for future you is going to allow you financial freedom and peace in the future. And that is priceless. And knowing you're doing that is going to feel so good and way more satisfying than buying a thing you can't afford and being seen as someone who has this thing. Because again, if it's something you can't really afford, if you buy a bag and you have to finance it and then you walk around with that bag and people are complimenting you, it's gonna feel more empty than if you saved up for it and you could afford it and you're really proud of yourself. Like you're not gonna have the same feeling inside. You're gonna know at the end of the day. Other people might not know, but you're gonna know. Like it doesn't feel good to show off things that you have that you can't afford. It does feel good to show off something, to not show off, but like, you know, to show people that you care about, hey, look, I accomplished this thing that I worked really hard at. That feels good. So to anyone who's feeling this, I hope that helps you have some context for the situation, that not is all as it seems on social media, and most people are in credit card debt. And, you know, if you feel envious of somebody with a big, beautiful house that's filled with beautiful furniture, then that's real, that's a valid feeling. But if you knew that behind the scenes they were totally broke and weren't putting any money to retirement, would that be as attractive? Would you be as jealous of them as you are if you don't think about those things? Probably not. Like you would see the financial stress and the toll that it's taking to have that front of that beautiful life that isn't really backed up by the finances for it. And some people have plenty of money and they have a beautiful home and they're saving for retirement, and you may be envious of them, but I would say maybe be more motivated by them than envious. And, you know, I don't think somebody who's making good financial decisions would pressure you to upgrade your lifestyle before you're ready to and before you're in a financial position where it makes sense to. So if that person has actually made smart financial decisions and got there the right way, they would be encouraging you to do the same thing, not pressuring you to upgrade to something that you're not financially ready for. And if they are pressuring you, like that's not somebody who's a real supporter of you, because they're not keeping what's best for you in mind in the way that they're like interacting with you and pressuring you in that way. If you have any other tips on how to deal with the pressure of upgrading your lifestyle, comment below and let me know. I love hearing your guys' ideas as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to see more from me, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.